craven is probably the darkest he would go. Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review slash psychological analysis slash kiki slash run of Love is Blind season 3 After the Altar episodes 1 to 3. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be, and I really do hope everybody is being as proactive as possible supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're still on the lookout for some resources, I've linked some in the description. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. And if you really like this video, consider subscribing and helping your girl out. So Love is Blind season 3 After the Altar. So after season 3 there was just a lot of drama. The drama just kept coming. Honestly, I feel like the aftermath of season 3 probably had the most drama than what was in these episodes. Honestly speaking, this After the Altar was very mild. It didn't really give me the drama that I was wanting or craving, to be honest. I feel like this After the Altar has just come too late. It's just kind of like I'm kind of over everyone at this point. I feel like we should discuss the scandals after the season before getting into After the Altar. So obviously the first big scandal, probably the witch hunt against Zanab. The hate train against Zanab was absolutely insane. To this day, I had so many people telling me to rewatch, and now maybe I'll see things different. And I had people that were genuinely mad that I was not jumping on the Zanab hate train. Overall, my feelings are still very much the same. I can see why people don't like Zanab. I can definitely see why people see Zanab as the villain in the situation. But even though I can see that, I still feel like this hate train that was sent Zanab's way was ridiculous. Like, people even going now on Alexa's page to tell her to apologize to Cole, like telling the whole cast to apologize to Cole. If you participated in that, like, I really do not know for you, because first of all, it was not that deep, and second of all, you're very much crazy. In terms of what I saw on the show, Cole was very much the antagonist. He definitely was talking to Zanab crazy. Yes, Zanab had existing self-esteem issues. Did Cole exasperate them? He definitely did. I did find some of the comments very concerning, and just the lack of empathy was just very concerning. I really do worry for some of you guys' relationships out here. If you're with someone who's insecure and you love them, then you would affirm them. So therefore, if you have a partner and you know they have body dysmorphia, you know they could have an eating disorder, you wouldn't then trigger them. You wouldn't now just be like, oh, well, your insecurities are your problem and you're supposed to love this person. This is meant to be a loving relationship. You wouldn't be going out of your way to talk about portions, to talk about what they're eating, how they're eating, because you know that would trigger them. If you love that person, you wouldn't do that. And if you had done that by accident, you would then affirm them. Love this person. If you want to be with this person for the rest of your life, surely you would do that. The amount of people that were saying no were very concerning. Very concerned for you and your relationships. In terms of this controversial QTC, it is touched in After the Altar. Personally, can still see Zanab's side of the story. I can understand where people feel like she's delusional and just make something out of nothing. But in terms of what I have seen, in terms of Cole making comments about her looks, about her weight, comparing her to other people, and the sheer fact that he was telling her not to eat 2 tiny tangerines to save her appetite, which literally does not make sense to me. You literally cannot rationalize that to me, that he was being caring, telling her not to eat 2 tiny tangerines because they were having a big dinner. 2 tiny tangerines. So I feel like if this is now on top of other comments that he has been making, which we have all seen, I can understand why Zanab now took that as fat shaming. It just really didn't make sense how this scene was taken as black and white when it was always at the beginning open to interpretation from both sides. I feel like it wasn't just a cuties gate with Zanab in terms of the hate train. I feel like people felt like she went about the wedding in the wrong way as well, and I feel like this cutie scene is just the engine for the hate train. For me personally, I can understand why people feel like what she was doing was immature and unkind. But for me personally, still, I feel like I can understand why she did that, because Cole was not a very nice partner. Her going off at him at the wedding, yeah bitch. I can also understand that it was very wild that, you know, she cussed him out after praying. That was very wild, but at the same time, I'm not religious, so for me, it's not really that deep. For me, it's still very much a kiki. What I will say on that is that she should have just been like, yeah, you know what, I'd had enough of him. And yeah, I cussed him out. I felt like she was being fake when she was saying, well, I don't hate Cole and, you know, I still have love for him. It wasn't done maliciously. Like, yeah, it was done maliciously. It was justified in my opinion, but it was done maliciously. Her going on, you know, I'm praying for him and all this stuff. Like, for me, that was like, come on, girl. Just stand in it. You fully hate this man, justifiably. You did want to embarrass him. Like, come on, confess. Because for me, it's not really adding up. You clearly wanted him to burn. You wanted everybody to hate him. You did. You did. Just admit that. For me, that's where it's like, Zainab, come on now. I feel like in terms of PR, I think Zainab could have played a better PR game. With Zainab, the hate train was just so bloodthirsty that definitely, even if she had, went back and was like, oh, I'm sorry, actually, I'm sorry. The hate mob would have still attacked her. And if she said no, I said, but I said they would still hate her. But I still feel like maybe she should just moved on and stop talking about Cole, talk through it much. I can understand why she did that. Definitely should have just said, put out a statement, maybe just saying, I said what I said. This is how I feel. Like, you guys saw how he treated me on the show. I'm over the situation now. I'm moving forward. I definitely feel like she dwelled on it longer than she needed it to, but at the same time, it's her feelings. So this is how she felt like she was going to deal with them. That's her right to deal with it that way. Even though I don't like Cole, and definitely was the antagonist in the relationship, I can commend him for his PR. In terms of his PR, he played it very well. He managed to switch his narrative from villain to victim. He was smart to limit his, insulting of Zainab. Being, playing the gracious is very much, the Johnny Depp playbook. Playing very gracious when people would be like, oh, I can't believe Zainab did like that. And he would be like, thank you, that means so much. So he would be bad-mouthing her by proxy and playing humble, broken man. Like, he really did that. I've got to commend him on that. I feel like he definitely, recovered his image, gained a lot more fans from the way that he handled the situation. And then, obviously, after the hate train controversy, then it came SK. SK. Like, from the beginning, for me, him being on this show did not add up. The amount of back and forth I had in my comments from people swearing that he was the most genuine man ever. I know you guys feel so fucking stupid right now. Even though I was, suspicious of SK's intentions, I did not think it would be this wild. But then we have to remember he's Nigerian. And honestly, like, Nigerian men, they are something else. And he's Yoruba as well. And they literally call them Yoruba demons. Yoruba men are called Yoruba demons for a reason. SK really had no shame of his cheating. Like, he was going out with these girls in public. Like, he would be booking trips with this girl. One girl couldn't come. He'd be calling up the next chick and be like, do you want to come on this day? Like, it was very shameless. I definitely suspected that SK was on this show for some sort of clout. Like, that is baseline suspicion for every single person who applies to this show. They're definitely looking at least for clout. I definitely thought that he was looking for a particular type of wife. For me, it was very clear that he was not attracted to Nigerian women and he wanted an American wife. But that was me thinking that he wanted his light-skinned American wife. Come to find out, Raven is probably the darkest he would go. Like, he was really after himself an American, honey. So obviously, we all know SK's a cheater, but he was cheating with multiple people, and he was telling one girl, like, I'm going on Love is Blind, but it's just a clout thing. Like, it's not that serious, and after the show, we're going to get back together. And this girl was buying it, and obviously now she's seeing him on the show. I think he now had broken up with her, and she was like, wait a minute, I had to expose him. And it was just a big scandal. And yeah, you got to be careful with these Nigerian men. If you're looking for your bills paid or if you're trying to lose weight from stress, okay, yeah. But love, don't even bother. Too many of my sisters have fallen. So yeah, that whole revelation was just ridiculous. At first, Raven was kind of like denying the allegations. I think it was when the third girl came out because there was like multiple people coming out. That's when she broke up with him. And then SK basically released a statement saying that it wasn't true and that he's pursuing legal action. And it was all just like, come on. We know you're guilty, SK. Like, what is all of this? Come on, suing. Who you're gonna sue her for telling the truth? SK. Come on. And then there was also a thing where basically Raven's friend just went on the internet saying, I told you guys. Lord, let one of my friends be trying to get some social media clout off of my demise, please. Absolutely not, hon. I think Raven cut her off, rightly so. Like, that was so fucking weird. But I gotta hear from you guys. Were you surprised? I know a lot of you guys were surprised. I know a lot of you guys thought he was so wholesome and honest and genuine. Bitch, I know a bullshitter when I see one. And then the scandals doesn't stop there with this season. Had a domestic violence report surface. And get this, it wasn't from Max. It was from Brennan. Now for me, it wasn't entirely a shock. I had bad vibes from Brennan in the beginning. There was just something about him I just didn't buy. It was literally the last episode where I started to buy him, and I started to buy him and Alexa. I feel like that's definitely a testament to just trust your intuition and don't be romance out of trusting your intuition. If you feel them bad vibes, get out, horn. Get out. This was not picked up from the producers, literally not even acknowledged this. It's making sense why his mum was moving a bit shifty. One conversation that Brennan's mum had with Alexa where she was basically low-key warning her, like saying, oh, he runs away, his dad was in the hospital with a very serious injury and he just upped and left, and you should be like aware of that. I felt like that was a very clear warning. If I heard somebody's mother tell that to me about my partner, that would be a wrap. Even the mum is telling me this. Like, why would the mother tell you such concerning information? She's clearly trying to warn you. So that was a big red flag there. So for me, it wasn't entirely a surprise with Brendan, because it took me really long to really buy him as a person. Like, I just kind of felt like, something feels off with him. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Alex has not acknowledged it. She's sticking beside her man. She's saying, that's my man, that's my man. So yeah, good luck to Alexa. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Were you surprised with these allegations about Brennan? Were you not? Like I said before, the drama wasn't really that much in these 3 episodes. It was very mild. Like I said, it very much suffered from We're Over the Show. We literally saw all the drama play out on social media. Really and truly, they should have been banning them from posting social media, because I feel like we already watched After the Altar on the internet. Contract should have been a bit tighter, or the cameras should have been out. As soon as the scandal broke, cameras should have been at Zanab's house. Cameras should have been at Cole's house. Camera should have been at Brennan's house. They should have done some reshoots, for the fresh drama as well. Yeah, because even the whole SK and Raven thing, it was like not really addressed properly, but I'll get into that. So basically, we see how all of the couples / individuals are getting on. A lot of the episodes focus on Alexa and Brennan, because obviously they're seemingly the most successful couple. I'm not sure if I saw her before, but I finally saw what Alexa's stepmom looks like. I'm not sure if she was in the other episodes. But yeah, she is really, really young. Like, obviously, I saw that she had a sister that was like 4 years old. I was thinking, how'd that happen? But yeah, Alexa's stepmom is like pretty much the same age as her. I'm pretty sure there's like less than 5 years between them. But yeah, she looks good. She looks good. And you know what? Looking at Alexa's dad, and look at how they live in, I can understand. I can definitely understand. If Alexa's dad asked me to be his new wife, I would probably say yes. There is a lot of discourse about these age gap couples, and I definitely understand. The majority of them are very much giving sides. But let me tell you, if you ever see me out here with the old rich man, just mind your business. But anyway, Brendan and Alexa, they look like they're going well. They're settled in, they've got an apartment together, and they're even talking about having kids. So from a relationship standpoint, it seems like things are going well. But one thing that I did notice is that there does seem to be some tension between Brennan and Alexa's. It seems like, Alexa's dad likes to kind of pick on Brennan a bit, call him out a bit, and basically roundabout said he's being a simp, like he needs to like be a bit more he kind of lets Alexa walk all over him. I felt like he was visibly annoyed when, Alexa's dad kept bringing it up. And you know what, for me, that was very much a red flag with Brennan. Don't get me wrong, I love a simp, I love a yes man. But for me, it wasn't genuine. It wasn't giving genuine yes man. It wasn't giving like he's absolutely obsessed with Alexa. It was giving, why are you saying yes to everything? Are you sure you mean yes when you're saying yes to everything? Because it just didn't seem like he was absolutely sure. Kind of did feel like he had this ulterior motive, but I just didn't know what it was, and I still don't really know what his ulterior motive is. For me, it doesn't seem like he's like infatuated with Alexa and he will do anything for her. It's just given like, what's going on here? Like, it's given very much like, I'm not really sure about you. If anybody has any theories about what Brennan's motive is, let me know, because I can't figure him out, because he likes the lifestyle. Like, I really can't say for sure. But for me, in terms of the family dynamic, it's not really giving a long-lasting marriage. I feel like in terms of Alexa's side, I feel like she's just happy to have a husband. And obviously, Brennan, he's holding down the crazy for now. He's managed to explain his way out of this domestic violence incident. Because I feel like if he tried anything of the sort with Alexa, we definitely would be finding Brennan's body. So he knows that he can't even try any of that. On Alexa's side, I feel like she's just happy to have a man. She's got her husband now. She doesn't want to go through the hassle of a divorce. So as long as Brennan behaves, she's going to stick beside him. So then we have Matt and Colleen. I'm still very much not buying it. Colleen's looking less of a prisoner. The prison is looking very cushy right now. She's got day release. She's even got her custom uniform going on. But notably, it's very clear that Matt is saying that he's still working through his like paranoia from, being divorced. And trying not to project that. And notably, at this point in the show, they still hadn't moved in together yet. And they were trying to rationalize it as, oh, we just met each other. We don't want to, move in with each other and then it not work out. And then we have a house together and we're stuck in this house together. Just seemed very strange. Fair enough if it was like, guys aren't married at the end. But you guys are literally married. So for me, you waiting to live with each other, what is that? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, you either live together soon as and it doesn't work out and you divorce, or you wait and then you live together and it doesn't work out and you divorce. So for me, it didn't really make sense. I think the true motive was financial. They basically alluded to the fact at the reunion they can't really afford a house yet. Matt was like telling the boys that to break his lease, he would have to pay up £5,000. Like, why would he pay £5,000 to break a lease? That doesn't make sense to him financially. I don't get it. Why are you getting married and you don't even have 5k to break a lease? That would be such a turn off. Like, you don't even have 5k to break a lease and you're my husband? This is why I need to marry a homeowner, because I can't be dealing with this bahala. We're married now and I want to move in together and you're saying, oh, it's going to cost me 5k to break my lease. Why did you guys get married in the first place, please? And then even in the discussion where they're talking about, you know, potentially getting a house together, he's like talking about, oh, I don't want to waste this money on this type of house. Like, he was already being like really stingy about prices. And stingy men is just a turn off for me. It's just kind of like, if you don't have your money together, like, why get married? I really don't get that. And even when he was telling the boys were just like, cheapskate. Brennan's trying to call him out and be like, you know, it's 5k. Like, why wouldn't you up that 5k if it means that you can live with your wife? I feel like Brennan was basically calling him a broke boy. It feels like the general consensus for the group is that they don't really buy Matt and Colleen's. Raven basically said that, you know, Colleen and Matt are arguing all the time and, you know, they just have really weird energy as a couple. It feels like the group is not in support of Matt and Colleen's relationship. Colleen, she just wanted a calendar marriage. She just wanted to be married. I feel like she comes from one of those towns where people get married at 20 and I felt like she needed to get married. But Matt, this is now your second time coming into a marriage and you haven't even sorted out your finances. Matt, what are you doing? What are you doing, hun? Then we see SK and Raven when they were still together. When SK was still pretending to be the perfect boyfriend. You know, they had been doing long distance, got an apartment together. They didn't really say how they were splitting rent. You know, Raven, she's a material girl. Later on in the episode, we see SK purchase a ring and propose to Raven again. And she says yes. And it's just kind of like, well, I'll be damn, bitch. Well, I feel bad for Raven because I feel like she did develop things for him. I do feel like there was a large part that was for PR. But I do feel like she did care for SK. At least, you know, he couldn't even hold down the PR marriage. You know, it's just insulting. I would be pissed if I was Raven. Like, SK really did ruin their PR relationship. But yeah, I just couldn't really find it cute because it's like SK's been exposed. It was just kind of like, oh, sorry about it, Raven. And then near the end of the episode, they do obviously address the whole SK and Raven situation. Basically, SK is missing. They just have Raven basically crying into like a self-cam, saying that he cheated and that she's torn up about it. I would have loved a little sit down, you know, like one of those sit down talks, you know. What was that thing? I would have loved to see something like that, but obviously SK was just like, didn't even want to, you know, show his face on TV. Like, that's how you know, like the fact that he didn't even come on TV. You didn't come on TV to defend yourself. It's very much guilty, SK. To be honest, it probably was a smart move not to come on TV because what can you say? Because it wasn't even just cheating. There were texts of him saying that, you know, he was basically using Raven. How can you defend that kind of thing? So maybe it was best that he just didn't come on the show. That pretty much moves us on to the main event of After the Altar. It seems like every After the Altar there is some sort of party that somebody hosts and everybody comes together. This year's destination is Alexa's birthday party. Decided to invite everyone, including Cole. I kind of felt like it was strange, but obviously the production probably told her she had to invite Cole. Like, she's even calling him a clown. Why are you even inviting him to your birthday party? So he's gonna be there. So yeah, I feel like there was definitely production telling her to invite Cole to her birthday party. Because I feel like as a friend, why would you invite your friend's ex when you know they have beef? So yeah, that was definitely a production thing. The way that they tried to style it out was just weird. There's usually, you know, some sort of drama that happens at this party. So the main pieces of drama that happened at this party is probably Nancy and Bartise. Earlier in the show, we basically see Nancy and Bartise are still seeing each other, probably still, you know, canoodling with each other. I think Bartise is seeing Nancy because, you know, she's his beck and call girl. Like, he can, you know, get some booty when he wants. But for him, it's not serious. But I feel like for Nancy, there was definitely a lot more feelings involved. She said just friendship is just friendship. Like, I can't just cut him off. But she was definitely still in love with Bartise. And I felt like maybe she was hoping their friendship was going to develop. And I was just like, come on, girl. This man has really embarrassed you. And you're still weak in the knees for him. Like, stand up. She even knew that she couldn't tell her family because she knows that her family going to cuss her out. But eventually she does, you know, come clean to her family. She's still kind of seeing Bartise on a friendship level. And they're just not impressed. You know, her mum is basically like, what value is he bringing to your life? He's a piece of shit. You need to kick him to the curb. You know, he's embarrassed you and you need to move on. And like, when you move on from him, your life is going to flourish. In that moment, Nancy's still trying to rationalize the relationship. Honestly, it's just really draining. I've been in that situation where, you know, somebody who you care about keeps going back to that shitty partner. First they come with the, oh, we're just friends. You know they're not just friends. You know they're back together. You just know it's going to end up badly. And it's just kind of like, you know, come on, girl. You know better. You know better. I saw those eyes of disappointment, and I could definitely relate, because it's not nice when you find out home gone back to the scrub, honey. But I feel like that talk with her family definitely knocked some sense into her, because at the party she does decide to cut things off with Bartise. Said like, no, we can't be friends. It doesn't make sense. Bartise was kind of upset. I feel like maybe he wanted to be the one to break it off, hit to his ego, and also he's lost his beck and call girl. So, but yeah, I was proud of Nancy for doing that, because Bartise was definitely just taking the piss. It embarrassed her. And he was using her, and he would have continued to use her. Like, the way that he speaks about her, like, he does not have any respect for her. I feel like it was the best thing to just dead that situation. Which brings us on to Cole and Zanab. Obviously, the main event of this party is going to be Cole and Zanab coming together to have a discussion about the aftermath of their ridiculous relationship. We did see them both separately earlier on in the episode. Zanab said that she's going to therapy now. Which is great, because she definitely does need some therapy. She definitely needs to continue with that. We also see Cole with his friends. Again, he's playing victim. He says he's got PTSD from the wedding day, saying, you know, he wouldn't have done that to Zanab. He's traumatized. And you know what? I can actually believe that he is traumatized from the wedding. The way that Zanab, you know, really just threw him out and embarrassed him in front of his friends and family. Like, yeah, like, that is definitely understand why you were traumatized. Like, she really did, like, dog you out on national TV. It's him trying to act like he didn't provoke her for me. Like, he was really much playing, I don't know what I could have done to her to, you know, make her feel this way about me. He was definitely leaning into that. Oh, let's not, hun. Because we saw how you were moving, hun. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, he's mature and he's, you know, moved on from the situation. He's not going to treat women like this anymore. He's clearly already back to old bullshit. He's saying how now he wants to move out of Texas and he wants to move to California and find a beach babe and marry a beach babe. If that man marries again, it's definitely ending in divorce. The same old Cole, superficial as fuck. And that's not going to get him anywhere. Very delusional about himself. He's basically saying that he just wants to find somebody that's kind. And I feel like his friends definitely back his illusion, because they're like, oh, that's what you do. You find someone that's kind and then they're mean to you. It's just like Cole is definitely the person who starts it. Cole is the person who provokes, and he pokes the bear. The bear reacts. He's like, oh my God, what the hell? Have you got bipolar? And, you know, I feel like Cole definitely feels like Zanab played him. I really don't feel like that's the case. I feel like Zanab really did try with Cole. Ultimately, they both knew that they were terrible for each other. They both were probably going to say no. It was just about who was going to say no first. So I feel like with Cole, he's still very much the same person that he was at the beginning of the series. Still very much an unserious character. Notably, we do see the boys get together. Cole is not a part of the boys' meeting. So clearly, you know, people really don't like him. So for all of the group not to really want to be hanging around with Cole, so much that he's now moving out the country because nobody wants to hang out with him. Again, it's very telling of the character. Nobody wants to be his friend. Nobody wants to hang out with him. I highly doubt Zanab has poisoned the mind of every single person in that show, and that's why they don't hang out with Cole. Clearly, Cole is the problem. And also another thing, when he was talking with his friends, they did discuss the whole cuties thing. And again, it's just another contradiction. Before, he was saying he was trying to save her appetite because they were having a big meal. Now he's saying, I don't understand how she was saying that I was fat shaming her and she's just making this up. You know, 2 tangerines, they're nothing. They're like, what, 30 calories and healthy? Like, I would encourage you to eat the tangerines because they're healthy. But in the clip, you told her not to eat it because they were going out for a meal later. So what one is it, Cole? So Cole arrives at this party. Before he goes to Zanab, he actually goes to squash the beef with Brennan because obviously there's some tension there. Brennan has been talking a lot of shit about Cole on the blogs. Cole's basically saying, you know, what's the problem? Like, what's the beef? And, you know, Brennan is basically saying, I said what I said, like, I don't respect how you were treating Zanab, like how you were talking about her eating habits and her body and stuff like that and the way that she looks. Basically calling him out. Cole basically just says, okay, yeah, I'm going to make things right, Zanab. Yeah, you know, he doesn't really try to defend himself. In the confessional, notably, he doesn't deny the bits where Brennan was calling him out about, you know, making comments about Zanab's looks, her attractiveness, her body and her eating habits. But he does deny the bit about him supposedly cheating at the bachelorette party. He denies that, but he actually doesn't deny the whole, body shaming stuff, He actually doesn't deny that in the interview, which again, for me, is very telling. He didn't just blanket deny everything. But eventually, he goes up to Zainab to break the ice and basically says, do you want to have a talk? And honestly, the talk wasn't really that juicy, to be honest. It was kind of awkward for the most part. Essentially, Cole does apologize to Zainab and basically said, like, I had no idea that I, made you feel that way about your body and eating habits. And Zainab was just doing this thing where she was just kind of like scoffing, like, I was like, Like, she doesn't really say anything, but she's like, just accepting what he's saying, but not really saying anything when he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I feel like maybe that's because she knows that Cole was full of shit. And I don't really feel like he meant that apology either, because he's been validated by the internet basically telling him that he's done nothing wrong and Zainab is crazy and delusional. But I know deep down, he definitely, at the very least, knows that he has said hurtful stuff to Zainab. But I feel like after the way Zainab did him at the wedding, I really don't think that he really cares about Zainab's feelings anymore. But I think maybe he just wanted to squash the tension, squash the beef, potentially, improve his image a bit more, I suspect. Because, he's always going to look like the good guy in this situation, despite what we've all seen him do. He basically confronts her on the wedding situation. He was basically saying, like, obviously, I knew you were going to say no. That was a shock. But you could have done it without the drama. Like, what was the rationale behind that? Kind of blindsided me there. And you know what? That is fair. That was blindsided. I feel like everyone was blindsided. You said a prayer and then suddenly, you were cussing him out, honey. This is where I can't really defend you when people are calling you crazy, Zainab. She basically switched it up. But I did say nice things about you in the wedding. I said you were a good guy. Obviously, you did bad things to me, but I said you were a good guy. And I was just like, Zainab, what girl? You literally flogged that man on the altar. I don't know. I feel like that was definitely, some delusion coming up, because you definitely flogged this man. Nice where? Nice where? That was a very horrible speech. 90% of it was insults. Zainab, I really would respect it more if you just said, yeah, I did cuss you out. You know what? I was at the end of my term, pushed me to my breaking point, and I just wanted to let it rip. I wanted you to feel the way that you had made me feel. And just said that, to be honest. Like, all of this, but I said nice things like, girl, barely. Like, just stand in it, honey. Because this whole, I said nice things and, I cared about you and all this stuff. It's not adding up, hun. You are very much justified in your hatred for Cole. But let's be real about it. It's very confusing when she tries to get on this moral high ground thing when, bitch, you literally drug him to hell. And then she says that if she could do it all again, she would have picked him again. She has no regrets. Girl, I know you fucking have regrets. Trolls are still trolling you every day, honey. That's when I was like, you know what? Maybe people were right about you being crazy, girl, because what the fuck? Cole still very much was the antagonist, but Zainab, yeah. Them crazy allegations, they might be holding up. And then after, Cole was basically like, do you have a problem with me? Like, do you have beef with me? I feel like he was basically drawing her out. I definitely feel like he did want an argument just to make her look bad one more time. I feel like it wasn't like he really just wanted to squash the beef. He did want to have an argument with her because honestly, the answer that she gave was just kind of like, what the fuck, girl? Let's be real for a minute. You clearly have a problem with me, because why else would you have done me like that? Cole definitely low-key drew Zainab out, but Zainab, I feel like she definitely processed that. He's drawing me out right now. But she didn't take the bait. I feel like she was like, you know what? I'm not going to be arguing with you. I'm looking crazy on TV to like feed the narrative and make you look good again. So she was like, oh no beef. Like, we're cool, we're fine. That was that. But it was very awkward. It's very clear they both hate each other. They both hate each other's guts. So yeah, very awkward interaction. I'm very much over both of them. And that's basically episode done. Like I said, there wasn't really much drama. The height of the drama really happened on social media. I feel like that kind of sucked the fun out of this. Like, as soon as the drama started, they should have been sending the camera crew there. And they just waited a bit too long to release this after the altar, because like, it's kind of like, we don't really care about the situations anymore. Like, most of us have moved on. But yeah, in my opinion, none of these couples are viable. I do feel like Alex and Brendan are going to end in divorce, and so are Matt and Colleen. I'm happy that Nancy cut things off with Bartise. I'm wishing her nothing best. Zanab and Cole, I'm very much over them. Bartise, I don't really care about Bartise. SK, he didn't even show his face. How embarrassing. And Raven, I'm wishing the best for Raven as well. She really did try and make the relationship work. Poor girl getting embarrassed like this. So yeah, do let me know what you thought of the aftermath of season 3. Do let me know what you thought about these episodes. Do let me know what you think about the remaining couples. How long do you think that their marriages are going to last? And do let me know what you thought about the individuals as well as all the scandals that have happened. If you want to see me review or react to any similar shows, you can send me a request on Patreon. In terms of what's happening next on my channel, the next I'm going to review in terms of reality TV is this Perfect Match show. There's actually a trailer at the end of this episode. Honestly, it looks like shit, but I'm still gonna watch it anyway. I'm also gonna have my Valentine's Day reaction out. As always, let me know what you thought about my commentary. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to turn my notification bell on so you know when my next video is dropping. I'm also trying to get to 4.6 subscribers. That's my next short-term goal, and I'd really appreciate if you help me hit that. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel so far. Thank you to everybody who's taken the extra step to sign up to my Patreon. It really means a lot to me. Till next time, guys. Bye.